Most people think cities collapse suddenly. Sirens, riots, panic in the streets. But that's not how it actually happens. Before chaos hits, cities start behaving strangely. Small systems begin failing, everyday routines stop working. And people ignore these warning signs until the moment everything spirals. Today, we're breaking down 10 signals that a city may be sliding towards serious instability. Some of them are subtle, some are impossible to miss. But the ninth sign is the one that experts say almost always appears before things get truly dangerous. Let's start with the first signal most people overlook. Sign 1: the quiet disappearance of essentials. One of the earliest warning signs isn't dramatic, it's an inconvenience. Products that were always available suddenly become harder to find. Fuel stations run out for a day. Pharmacies delay certain medications. Grocery stores quietly limit how much people can buy. Most people assume it's temporary. Sometimes it is, but if shortages keep appearing over and over, it usually means supply systems are under pressure. Cities rely on constant deliveries. Food, medicine, fuel, and materials move through complex networks every single day. When those systems slow down even slightly, the effects spread quickly. The real danger comes later, because once people notice shortages, panic buying begins, and small problems explode overnight. That's why preparation matters early. A small buffer of essentials at home can prevent you from being forced into the same panic as everyone else. And shortages often appear right before the next warning sign. Sign 2: emergency services start slipping. In a stable city, emergency services are fast. You call for help and someone arrives quickly. But when systems begin experiencing stress, response times start getting longer. Ambulances arrive late, police calls take hours. Fire departments struggle to keep up. At first, these delays seem like isolated problems, but when they become common, it signals something deeper. Emergency services act as a city's safety net. If they become overwhelmed, the entire system becomes more fragile. That means small problems can escalate much faster, which is why basic self-reliance suddenly becomes more important than people expect. Knowing first aid, keeping medical supplies, having emergency plans. Because when systems slow down, outside help may not arrive when you expect it. And when those systems weaken further, another critical infrastructure often starts failing. Sign 3: power stops being reliable. Electricity is the backbone of modern cities. Without it, everything starts breaking. Traffic systems fail, communication networks collapse, water pumps stop running. One power outage isn't unusual. But repeated outages, especially unpredictable ones, are a major warning sign. When electrical infrastructure begins struggling, it usually means deeper pressure inside the system. And once power becomes unreliable, daily life changes instantly. Food spoils, businesses shut down, streets become chaotic. That's why having simple backup solutions matters more than people think. Flashlights, batteries, portable chargers, even small tools can make an enormous difference during outages. But failing infrastructure is only part of the story. Sometimes the next thing that collapses is far more dangerous. Trust. Sign 4: people stop trusting the system. Cities operate on trust. People trust that stores will have food. They trust laws will be enforced. They trust services will work tomorrow the same way they worked today. But when confidence in those systems disappears, behavior changes fast. Rumors spread. People begin questioning everything. Communities grow suspicious of each other. And when trust disappears, cooperation disappears with it. This shift is extremely dangerous because cities rely on millions of people cooperating every single day. Once that cooperation weakens, instability accelerates, which is why strong local relationships matter more than most people realize. Neighbors who trust each other form small support networks that remain stable even when larger systems begin failing. But trust doesn't collapse randomly. It often follows another growing problem. Sign 5: small crimes become normal. Mass chaos rarely appears overnight. It begins quietly. More shoplifting, more car break-ins, businesses installing heavier security systems. People start avoiding certain areas after dark. These patterns signal two things happening simultaneously. Enforcement is weakening, and desperation is increasing. Neither is a good sign. When crime patterns shift, ignoring it is a mistake. Improving lighting around your home, reinforcing entry points, and staying aware of your surroundings becomes increasingly important. Awareness alone can prevent many problems. But crime is often only a symptom of deeper issues building inside a city, and those issues usually start affecting movement next. Sign 6. Transportation becomes unpredictable. Cities depend on movement. Workers commute to jobs. Deliveries restock stores. Emergency vehicles move quickly through streets. When transportation systems begin breaking down, the entire city feels it. Public transit becomes unreliable. Traffic congestion appears in unusual places. Routes suddenly change or disappear. These disruptions create ripple effects everywhere. Deliveries arrive late. Workers struggle to reach jobs. Emergency services slow down even more. That's why mobility is an underrated survival advantage. Knowing alternate routes, maintaining your vehicle, or even having simple transportation options like bicycles can give you flexibility when systems become unstable. Because when movement stops, cities start feeling trapped. And that pressure often leads to economic strain. Sign 7. Businesses start closing. Economic instability doesn't always appear as a sudden crash. Sometimes it shows up quietly. Local businesses close, services disappear, prices rise unpredictably. Each closure weakens the local economy further. Workers lose income, spending drops, more businesses fail. It becomes a chain reaction. When economic pressure builds long enough, entire neighborhoods can change rapidly. That's why relying solely on fragile financial systems can be risky. During unstable periods, tangible resources, food, water, useful supplies, become far more valuable than numbers on a screen. But economic pressure also creates another problem: confusion. Sign 8. Information stops making sense. During stable times, information tends to be clear. But when systems begin struggling, communication becomes messy. Different sources say different things. Rumors spread quickly. People argue about what's actually happening. Confusion spreads faster than facts. This environment creates fear and poor decisions. And the smartest response is simple observation. Look at the reality around you. Are services functioning? Are stores stocked? Are systems reliable? Your own observations often reveal far more truth than conflicting messages. And if those observations keep showing problems, another signal usually appears. People start leaving. Sign 9. Residents begin quietly leaving. Population shifts can reveal problems long before they become obvious. When people who have lived in a city for years begin moving away, it often means they see instability forming. At first, the changes are subtle. Apartments empty, homes appear for sale, skilled workers relocate. But when enough people leave, cities begin losing the talent and stability that kept them functioning. This is the signal analysts often watch carefully, because when long-term residents start abandoning a city, it usually means confidence in the future is fading. Which is why having an exit plan matters, and not panic, just options. Know where you would go and how you would get there if leaving ever became necessary. Because if the final sign appears, conditions may change quickly. Sign 10. Life stops feeling predictable. Stable cities feel routine. You wake up, commute, work, shop, return home. But when deeper instability forms, that routine begins breaking down. Services fail randomly. Plans fall apart. Systems that used to run smoothly become unreliable. When everyday life becomes unpredictable, it usually means multiple systems are under pressure at the same time. And at that point, adaptability becomes the most valuable skill anyone can have. People who can adjust quickly handle instability far better than those who assume systems will always work the same way they always have. Closing. Cities almost never collapse without warning. The signals appear first: small disruptions, failing systems, shifting behavior. The difference between people who handle instability well and those who panic usually comes down to one thing: awareness. Because if you recognize the warning signs early, you still have time to prepare. But if you ignore them, you'll only notice the danger when everyone else does. And by then, preparation may no longer be possible.